Hi, this is Stephanie Miller from The Stephanie Miller Show. Please enjoy this exclusive clip from my show on Political Voices Network. Dana, what was your reaction? Because I know it's just getting everybody's first reaction is always, I just think telling because all of us, like, we kind of marinate in this, all of us that are in this kind of
Absolutely.
area, and you just read the indictment and think, oh my God, again. Like, that you still have the ability to be shocked at his level of criminality.
Absolutely. Also, I think a lot of us are like, maybe this one is the one that actually gives him prison time. I don't
Yeah.
know if the other ones
Yeah.
will, but this one really feels like if there is equal justice under the law, and we know that there's not always that because our justice system and is messed up in tremendous ways. But with this one, you really do have to hope that they will put him away for this. This is bigger than the other two, in my opinion. And I'm hoping that this is what makes the house of cards fall.
Yeah, it is our very democracy itself. You're right. And we were just talking before the breakdown about Judge Chutkin. I feel like there must be karma if she is assigned to this case.
Absolutely.
Because not,
And it was
not that she's an
completely
Obama
random.
appointee, but that she was confirmed, Dana, 95-0. This is, we forget
Huge.
the era of Donald Trump. Almost everyone he appointed, almost every judge was ruled not qualified by the ABA. That's never happened before.
Yeah, and
She,
I covered
yeah.
I covered this on the beans yesterday. Chutkin is the judge that made them hand over all of this troves of documents to January 6th. She's got history. Basically, she was like, "Listen, he's not in front of me right now, so I can't say anything about that. But you went to the Capitol for one man, not for this country, and now that one man is going to be in front of her in the court. So I hope this just covers
Yeah.
over. And this isn't bias. This is justice. She is
Yeah.
following the law."
Yeah, and as we were saying, she's a famous defense attorney, so you'd think she
Yeah.
would lean, generally the defense would be thrilled. And legal experts are saying it's a good draw for both sides because she's just a really good judge. But I think you're absolutely right that she's the one that said the famous thing about presidents are not kings when she ruled
Yeah.
against him on executive privilege. That's a good start. The 11 cases Chutkin has provided over, she imposed tougher sentences than those sought by the Justice Department 7 times, matched the DOJ's request 4 times. She sentenced all 11 defendants to time behind bars. To your point, how do you not sentence the ringleader to time behind
I
bars?
don't see how it could possibly happen, especially when his lawyers, I mean, bless their heart, he can't get a good lawyer at this point to save his life.
Right.
Not that he ever had one.
Yeah.
And I don't know what they're going to argue at this point, whether it's freedom of speech or insanity. I have no idea.
Right. Well, I mean, and also what she said in a recent sentencing, she said it has to be made clear that trying to violently overthrow the government, trying to stop the peaceful transition of power, and assaulting law enforcement officers in that effort is going to be met with absolutely certain punishment. This was on, one of the latest sentencing hearings that she did. So, yeah, I also think, I mean, it's just all the normal stuff he tries. Like, can we go to West Virginia? She's going to be like,
Computer says no.
no.
Yeah, no.
You
And
don't
you've
get
got
to
these six
just pick a
co-conspirators.
state that you won by 40 points randomly.
Yeah,
Right.
can we go there? And we know that the six co-conspirators there haven't been charged, and so we're hoping they flip. I
Yeah.
mean, they're being named in the indictment, but they haven't been charged yet. We want this to be a speedy trial. Allison's been talking about this. This case is against the United States. We are the United States, and we have a right to a speedy trial in this case. So we want this to happen as soon as possible.
Yeah, she posted that yesterday, versus United States. She's like, hey, that's us.
I'm the United States. You're the United States. We're the United States.
But it is a test for the United States, as I think, Neil Katyal and others have said. This is going to be a real test of our democracy. And it
Absolutely.
just, I mean, not only, by the way, we keep saying, I hope they get to the other conspirators that are in Congress,
Yeah.
not just
Yes.
these six that are named, right?
No, absolutely. And Jack was saying we're still investigating this. These aren't the end of the names. Like, we're still going deeper with this. I'll tell you what, when they came out with the co-conspirators, though, I was really hoping it wasn't just all these crackpot lawyers, as they have been called, Sidney Powell, Rudy Giuliani, excuse me, and the others. But I'm really hoping that they figure out, Boebert. They've got Boebert and Green's phone records from that day.
Yep.
So I don't think this is over. I really don't.
Well, I keep pointing to Ted Cruz. He was on the floor of the Senate asking for the exact part of the plan that John Eastman was asking for.
Absolutely, in a state that he's not connected to at all. For him to actually say that I have a problem with the electors in Arizona, like,
Yeah.
good for you and your ego, but I hope you go down for this too.
Yeah. How many petticoats has Lindsey Graham sweated through, do you think? Waiting
Oh,
for the Georgia
several. I
indictments.
think there's petticoats and a soiled couch. Are you kidding me? The fainting couch
Yes.
probably needs to be very much shot backed and dry cleaned and all the other things.
So where the petticoat meets the fainting couch is the petticoat junction, is what you're saying? Is that
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't bring a black light to that room. You
No.
will never go in there
Oh,
again.
So yeah, I'm reading one of the most damning elements. It's all damning, but contained in the 45-page indictment is how many people told him what he was doing is wrong, and how all of those people were Republicans. I mean, that's the other thing, Dana. They can scream as much as they want. Liberals are doing this to Donald Trump. Democrats are. Joe Biden's doing. First of all, jury of his peers sent down the indictments, and all of the people that will convict him and testify against him are not just Republicans, Trump Republicans. People he appointed or hired, right?
Yeah, it's not good. It is definitely not good. I mean, we were talking this before. These lawyers that they have, there was, I think it was one of the January 6th defendants, or it could have been someone in the documents case, but I don't think so. Basically, they had one of the lawyers that was being paid from the Save America PAC, and he fired him after he'd been indicted, and he fired him, and now he's not indicted anymore. He got a new lawyer, and whatever's happening there, either with information that's being given, these lawyers are telling their clients to lie for Donald Trump. And like Cassidy Hutchinson got rid of one of those crackpot lawyers, and she was probably one of the biggest people in this case as a witness.
Yeah.
Like, this is a big deal.
Yeah. Yeah, one analyst was saying these are people who defended Trump through some of the worst episode in recent American history. They stayed with him even when he tried to overthrow the federal government. The indictment is coming from inside the House. I think Willie Geist said that. We told Donald Trump time and time again. It's documented here in these 45 pages. He lost the election. There was no fraud that you're hearing about from crazies. There's no fraud that you're hearing about from your friends on certain TV shows. You lost. Joe Biden's going to be president. Time to move along. And he didn't buy that. And there is a mountain of that evidence. It's not like it's one person, right?
There's also that one part in the indictment. I saw just a little clip of it on Twitter about him taking that speech out about Mike Pence. And then once he figured out that Mike Pence wasn't going to do his dirty work, he put it back in. And he put it back in the speech that put Mike Pence in danger when they were like, hang Mike Pence, hang Mike Pence. And that's why they ended up going. But he put him in danger after he realized he wasn't going to actually do this fake slate of electors when Mike Pence was like, no, like, don't come to me with that. That's when he put it back in his speech, from what I understand.
And we were talking earlier, Dana, I wanted to get your take on that. I'm sure you guys have talked about this, is how many electors knew what they were doing and are going to be convicted, or how many were, because that's in the indictment, that some of them were tricked, that they were tricked into signing these things because they said, oh, this is only in case, we win legally in your state and we just want to have, which was not the case.
I mean, it's interesting because if you looked at the age of all of these fake electors or that were put into this scheme, they're all right around the median age of Fox News watchers. That's not a coincidence. But it's interesting that they're like, oh, I didn't know I was doing anything wrong. I'm like, you're sneaking through bushes like in the middle of the night or something like that. Where I'm like, no matter what you think you've been duped into, as a human being, you have to realize that what you're doing is somewhat sketchy.
I do love the Homer Simpson, sneaking back into the bushes aspect of this entire
one of my favorite
I don't, no one can see me. I'm invisible in the bushes. Officer Daniel Hodges, oh my God, remember that guy? Was the horrifying tape that got smashed in his face smashed in the door?
Awful.
January 6th. He said he was talking about the Republicans who tried to downplay the chaos of that day. They know they're lying. Hodges provided a haunting picture of how he still suffers from the trauma of that day. It never really goes away. He said they know they're lying when they say that. They know that they just say it because they're afraid. They're afraid of their own voting bloc. I think Eric Swalwell tweeted a picture of himself. He said, I gabbled us in on January 6th. And he said, later that day, I texted my wife and told her I love her and please tell the kids I love them. Because many legislators did that. He said it is time that justice has come because many people texted their loved ones to say goodbye. That's how serious it was.
It was. And Officer Fanone's statement on the indictment is powerful and it's important. I mean, these officers almost lost their lives that day, and in some ways they did lose their livelihood, and they're part of their being that they very much love to do, and they can't be on the force, or they had to retire, or they're going through emotional trauma. Like, this is ongoing in their lives. This isn't one day that there was an attack on the Capitol. This is reverberated through our country 2 years later, a year and a half later. This is It's a lot, and I'm glad that there hopefully is justice for some of the people that were
Well,
not only injured but killed in
yeah.
the January 6th attack.
And I've said that over and over. I mean, that not enough attention is paid to the officers that took their own lives. That, we just had Malcolm Nance on. I mean, all of his family, they've served in wars. And I was saying, like, we haven't, nobody, our military has not engaged in this kind of hand-to-hand combat since when? Which war? Would you Civil War? I don't know. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, the officers are saying, some of them obviously were in war, in combat. Nothing like this. Hand-to-hand combat for hours and hours.
Right.
I mean, how would you not be traumatized?
That is terrifying. And even if you have a weapon on you, you've got thousands of people around you. You're not just going to discharge your weapon into a crowd of people.
Right.
And so they were trying to defend the Capitol the best they could without bloodshed, and at least on their side. And the other side obviously didn't care. They were going to do anything they could to take over power and to keep Trump in office.
And Officer Hodges brought up the same thing Malcolm Nance did. It's just of all the stunning things in this indictment. The Jeffrey Clark saying that's why there's an Insurrection Act, which gives the president permission to send the U.S. military after its own citizens to quell civil unrest. Hodges says it's crazy to suggest something so casually, right? To have the U.S. military just deployed in the streets when you grab power illegitimately like that. It's just classic fascism. Yeah. I mean, and it's always projection with them, right? In every tweet now, Trump's calling everybody else fascists, right?
Oh, God, yeah. I mean, the whole family, the tweets from his son, is Crotch Fruit Jr., they're infuriating. And I don't know how the algorithm is on Twitter now, but all of my tweets that are coming through my feed are just DeSantis and Don Jr. and Don. I'm like, what is happening on X or whatever the heck it's
Chris
called?
and someone tweeted, "Aw, poor Eric. Someone's have to explain to him what Daddy did. Daddy did something bad. Daddy's going to have to go out for cigarettes for a few years."
Yeah.